Hi, this is Numeric Citizen here. In today's video, I'm trying to answer the following question. What's missing from Craft again? Let's find out. As you probably know, Craft has been running on Apple operating system since the beginning. It means that you can use Craft on the iPhone, on the iPad, or even on the Mac. And more recently, Craft has been made available also on Windows. But for this video, I want to concentrate on the Apple ecosystem. So what is an operating system? An operating system is a bunch of software services that makes applications possible. So developers will use services to build things like text manipulation in their application or image processing. This is also the services like Siri that allows for interaction with the old device, or image processing, like I said. So the question in this video is, what's missing from Craft? What are the services that Craft currently doesn't support but should, which would make Craft even more powerful? To help me with this video, I created the following diagram that you see on the screen. So operating system features are sometimes dependent on a specific device or can be common to across all the operating system. So on the left side of the diagram, you see all operating systems where this is where features are the same even if you are on the iPad, on iPhone, or on the Mac. And on the right, what you see are features that are more specific to a device. For example, on iOS, on the iPhone, there is the widget on the lock screen that are not available on the Mac or on the iPad. So it makes this feature specific to the iPhone. So I'll be using this diagram to explain what the features that Craft could use to become more powerful. Now let's start with the common features that are missing from Craft. First one is the full document content indexation with Spotlight. As you probably know right now, when you are creating documents with Craft, the operating system can only index the document title. It's not a limitation of the operating system. It's more a limitation from Craft, which chose to not index the actual document content. So I think for a note-taking application, it's a very big omission, and this is something that they could add, I think, pretty easily because the indexing services are already there within each of operating system. The other thing is the open with Craft. Have you tried to open a text file from within the Finder? If you right-click on the text file and you try to open this file within Craft, you won't be able to do that. Why is the reason? I don't know. But the thing is, we should be able to right-click on the text file, which we can already import within Craft, but we have to be first in Craft to be able to import that file. So this is something that could, I think, be easily added for simple text format like text. Even image could be made like being able to import that. I don't know why we can use those image format, but we cannot open that from Craft. The other thing, and this is something that a lot of people are asking for Craft to implement, it's not exactly within the operating system level. It's more something that Safari, the mobile browser, or the browser that Apple is making. This is a mechanism where you can extend the features of the browser, and sadly, there is no Craft extension right now on any Apple devices. The next thing is a more flexible configuration for widgets. Craft support widgets on the iPad, on the iPhone, and on the Mac. The problem is the configuration options are very limited, and there's a lot of other applications that show how easy or how flexible the widget system allows developers to make things very, very powerful. So this is something that is missing. What I'd like to see maybe in the support for widgets is a way to maybe open something in a different space or a different folder, or just not the, or even select the start document or the unsorted ones. So again, I think the content of a widget could be made more flexible. The other thing is focus filters. That one is it's more complex to explain. So in iOS 15, if I'm not wrong, Apple introduced focus modes where you can set your device to behave differently depending if you are driving, if you are working, if you are located in a specific place. And it will allow you to change the content of your home screen, the way you receive your notifications and stuff like that. In iOS 16, macOS 12, I think it's Ventura, they even added more flexibility where the application can now change its behavior depending on the currently active focus mode. So we could see something like if you are in the writing mode, you could ask Craft to be in a focus mode itself and allow only a specific type of notifications to be received. So this is something that Craft should take advantage of since it's available in iOS 16. The other thing is Apple reminders. Those are syncing across all Apple devices, even the watch. And I think Craft should allow for, just like for calendars, to be able to import or see the currently active reminders so people could check them right from within Craft, or they could be imported in daily notes. So there's a lot of possibilities there, and I don't know why it's missing. The other thing, on the automation side of the story, Craft support shortcuts, but it's a very limited support. And I think since Apple introduced in iOS 16 a new way for developers to allow for basic operations to be exposed to the shortcuts subsystem, I think Craft should allow much more actions to be made from a shortcut point of view. And this is something that a lot of people, I think, are asking for Craft to do. And the last thing I would mention are image filters. So as you know, Apple software is very oriented towards photography. And something that Apple offers to any developers is a lot of image processing APIs. And I think Apple also offers a quick way to use image filters on any images that are passed to the API. So I think it should be pretty easy for Craft to add support for image manipulation. I mean, basic image manipulation, like applying a specific filter. So that is something that Craft could use, and it's pretty free for them to implement because all the software is already able to use that from within an application. So that's for the features that are missing from Craft that are crossing all the Apple platforms. Now on the Mac, there's a few things that Craft could do which would make it more useful or even frictionless tool. The first thing is a parity with gestures between the Mac and iPad. There's a few users who are complaining that you can do a few things on the iPad with the trackpad which you cannot do with the Mac, even though the Mac support trackpads, for their MacBook product line. So I think Craft should invest some time in making sure that each of those platforms support similar gestures with the mouse and also with the trackpad. The other thing is on the automation side. I know that Apple is investing a lot of efforts in developing the shortcuts subsystem in their operating system, but on the Mac there is another way to write automation process is by using AppleScript. It's a pretty old language that has been there for a long time, and I think Craft would benefit from being able to expose its software through the Apple script subsystem, which would make things even more flexible for automation on the Mac. Now on the iPad, there's a few things missing from Craft. The first thing is, since iPad OS 16.1, Apple released a new way of interacting with the device, which is called Stage Manager. If I've been on the beta from the beginning, since the Stage Manager has been made available on the iPad, and I try to use Craft with Space Manager active, and I must say that the way Craft behaved when we try to resize the Craft window on the iPad is pretty flaky. It's not smooth enough. And I think it's because Craft is lacking maybe awareness of the fact that it might be running within a Stage Manager context. So this is something that I think Craft should improve. Also, there's some very important thing missing related to the use of the Apple Pencil. I found out recently that if I want to select text, a portion of a text within a text block, it's not easy to do with the Apple Pencil. In fact, it doesn't really work. So it would be more intuitive to be able to use the Apple Pencil to kind of dragging from a point A to point B for text selection, and then if we drag the pencil down, we could extend the text selection to other blocks. This is something we can do with the mouse on the Mac, but on the iPad with the Apple Pencil, it's not possible. And I think we're missing some opportunities there for making Craft even more user-friendly and more intuitive. So that's for the Apple Pencil support on the iPad. The other thing that is missing, which has been recently introduced, it's the use of the up-over with the Apple Pencil on the latest iPad Pro. I know it's pretty recent, and it will take time before all the developers take advantage of that. But my wish is that Craft would eventually add support for the possibility to bring your Apple Pencil closer to the screen and then see the Craft user interface elements or content to react to the fact that the Apple Pencil is close to the screen even though it's not touching the screen. So that's something I'd like to see, and I don't know if it will be coming, but finger crossed. And finally, the last device where Craft should add more integration with the operating system is on the iPhone. With the iOS 16, Apple introduced a lock screen widget where the user can add some widgets on the lock screen, and those widgets will simply interact with either the device itself or with an application. And what would be interesting to see is being able to hit configure a widget where Craft would launch to a specific folder or a specific like a start document, so it would be easier to enter within the Craft environment. It could be used to launch Craft and rapidly being able to jot notes within the application. So this is, I think, the only thing that Craft should be adding to their application, and take advantage of the latest operating system on the iPhone. Now, if you want more details about how Craft could better support each Apple operating system, you can go on the website, the Making Craft Better website. I'll share the bookmark in the video notes. I have created a new article within this series, which is available right there, as you see on the screen. So if I click on that, you'll see the actual article, which goes in further details about each of those features that Craft is missing, but could be using in order to be more powerful on any of Apple operating system or platforms. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a few things. If you are not a user of Craft, so this is something I hope has been useful for you to better know what's missing from Craft. Again, Craft is an excellent, is a powerful note-taking application, but there's a few things that are missing, even though it's been like 2 years where we're happy to have Craft in our digital life. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for being there. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to get notified about the next available video. And thanks again for being there. Drop me a feedback, a comment if you like. I'll be more than happy to respond to each of them. Thanks you again for being there, and see you guys for another one. Bye.